starting from scratch somehow is something that you cannot do while you're in your own city doing what you're doing. And basically I had an expectation of being able to have some time to experience with uncertainty, instability, and all the things that are very impossible to experience if you're always in the same spot. I'm Paula. I'm from the city of Buenos Aires in Argentina. I'm a lawyer and I focus mainly on social rights. I came to New York because I won a Fulbright scholarship so that I could do a master's degree in law. My thesis was an intersectional analysis on how Black women and Latinas experience housing programs. I was trying to see what their struggles were, and I learned so much about how the city runs from their experiences. I got separated in the middle of my stay here. There were times in which there were snowstorms, and there was a particular one in March which was hard, and it was cold, and I couldn't leave my house. And I remember sending an audio to one of my friends in Buenos Aires, telling her about how I was feeling. I sounded like a freaking zombie. I had this tone of voice. So I re-listened to that message, audio file, the next morning, and I started laughing about how lousy I was feeling. So that was rock bottom, the worst part of the winter, the worst part of my separation, the worst part of feeling alone. And I was okay, I sound like shit, this is over, I'm gonna move on from these feelings. But just by re-listening to myself in that situation, it was funny. I started laughing. Vinyls are my thing. I know how to spin digitally and I'm good at that for parties, but I want to be able to spin actual records, and I try to learn, but it's so hard and you need to learn the equipment. Feminist badasses from the 90s, MTV culture, but still very, very, very cool. Talking about sex and revolution and not getting any kind of bad attitudes from dudes because they're badass women. So this is a very rare record, very good one. I had two different experiences when it comes to feminism and the women's movement in New York. One has been how I have felt as a woman. I find dudes to be more respectful and it's less aggressive in terms of physical violence. And then there was this time that I didn't feel so comfortable, which was the Women's March in January, and nobody was chanting, nobody was singing, there was no noise, there were no feelings, no real anger. It was mostly an anti-Trump kind of vibe, but it wasn't focused on the struggles of the feminist movement. So I kind of feel being a feminist here is being a liberal feminist in a way, but when you touch other kind of areas of the feminist movement, I don't feel a conversation with American feminists. My favorite place in the city is definitely Coney Island. I've been here even in the winter where nobody was here. Most of the boardwalk was a desert. It's a very nurturing experience to be able to be in touch with your own feelings and thoughts and be able to dive into them, especially when you're having this kind of transformative process of living abroad. So you are always kind of checking up on yourself, how are you feeling today? And it's really hard to do that if you're in a hectic environment. So this place is, for me, is this self-care routine of checking up on myself and seeing if I'm doing okay, if I need some time alone, sometimes it's good. I've really started to value my alone time. I'm not going back to the same Buenos Aires that I left. First of all, things have changed for women a lot during the last year. So I'm really excited about what's going on with the feminist movement in Buenos Aires and in Argentina in general. We're having discussions about abortion and legalization of abortion. We're talking about changing the patriarchal system and abolishing it, and that's very exciting and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not really looking forward to going back to my old scheduled life. So it's kind of like this mixed feeling of wanting to go back to what I know, not wanting to go back to what I know. I don't really have any kind of goals that come out of this experience. It's not that I have a plan. I don't even know if I want to have children or not. I want to be, like, say, single. But I do know what I want with myself, and that is to seize different experiences and always have the yes at the top of my tongue. Always have it there. Instead of living afraid and saying no, I think that this experience taught me to say yes more often. So I think I wanna keep that as like a hope for myself.